episode 9 of Athletes Corner. I am here with special guest Keith Carter. How you doing today, Keith?
Doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So we're going to ask Keith Carter some questions, and then at the end we're going to do trivia. So let's just go and get started.
All right, let's do it.
So we're going to start off with some personality questions, kind of get a feel for the room. First question, what is your favorite restaurant in Oxford?
Ooh, you're trying to get me in trouble. Man, Oxford it's so many good restaurants. Probably the restaurant that we end up at the most, just because we have a 12-year-old that loves it, is El Charro, the Mexican restaurant. But if I'm going on a date with my wife, we're probably going to Jinsei or St. Leo. Love Ajax for lunch. And I don't want to leave it. We've lived here so long. We've eaten at all of them many times and love them all. But great to have those opportunities for sure.
Yeah. My favorite Mexican restaurant's El Agave.
Yeah, not bad.
I love it.
Absolutely.
It's one of my favorites of all time, really.
For sure.
Okay, this second question I got: if you could hang out with any athlete, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would y'all do?
Okay. I have a lot of favorite athletes, but probably the person that I would want to hang out with would be Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, but I grew up playing baseball. Love baseball. It probably is my favorite sport. I just got to the point in my career where I was getting better at basketball than I was baseball. But I grew up kind of when Jeter was coming through in the mid '90s and through that era, and just loved Derek Jeter. So I'd love to hang out with him.
Yeah. So third question I got: if you weren't AD, what job do you think you would be working right now?
I would definitely be doing something in the outdoor industry. I love to hunt and fish. I've gotten really close with the guys at Realtree over in Columbus, Georgia, the Jordans, and doing something like they do would be really fun. Just being in that world, and obviously I think anything you do probably becomes a job at some point, and you're not always loving every day of it. But man, to do something like that and work in the outdoor industry would be cool.
Yeah. So these questions now, the rest of them is going to go towards your athletic career and then you being AD.
Okay.
So next question I got: being a native from Arkansas, what led you to play for Ole Miss?
So I grew up, if you grow up in Arkansas, even to this day, you're kind of a Razorback. It's kind of the only show in town, and I grew up a huge Razorback fan. And as I just mentioned, as I was getting to my 10th grade, 11th grade year, realized that I might be able to play basketball in college, as an option. And so my junior year in high school, 1994, Arkansas won the national championship.
Yeah.
My senior year in 95, they got second. They finished runner-up to UCLA. So I grew up loving the Razorbacks, but they did recruit me. And I ended up, Ole Miss was really my only SEC offer. And so I ended up coming to Ole Miss, didn't know a ton about Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I knew they played in the SEC against Arkansas.
Yeah.
And so, but then obviously it didn't take me long to fall in love with this place, and obviously the rest is history. I've been here ever since.
Yeah, that's nice. So you're one of the most decorated players in Ole Miss basketball history. When you look back, what is the first memory that comes to mind?
Probably my freshman year. We had started off 0-5 in the SEC. We'd had a couple of blowouts, and then we had a couple of close games. But then the sixth game, we played Auburn at home, and they were ranked in the top 25. We had some players who were suspended for that game. A couple of our starters were suspended. We only had like 6 or 7 or 8 guys on the whole roster playing that night, and we ended up beating Auburn. And so it was kind of one of those deals where it was almost like you look back at that exact moment of that game, and that's when our team really took off, for the next couple of years. And so probably that Auburn game my freshman year was really my first big memory of my career at Ole Miss.
Yeah. Okay, so going to the Ole Miss basketball team, your senior year you played, and y'all made the NCAA tournament. What was it like leading Ole Miss to its first NCAA tournament win in school history?
It was awesome, and it was really kind of a little bit overdue because my sophomore year we made the tournament. We got beat in the first round by Temple pretty badly. My junior year we were a 4 seed in the tournament, and we lost to Valpo in a last-second shot that they made a buzzer beater against us. So then my senior year we made it again. We were able to beat Villanova in the first round, and to be the first to ever win in the NCAA tournament for Ole Miss, that was really cool. Obviously, but it was really cool for our team too because we'd kind of gone through some adversity in the tournament over the first 2 appearances, And so to be able to do that was really awesome, both for our team and for the university.
Yeah. So your senior year, you was team captain at basketball. So did your time as team captain ever influence how you lead now as an athletic director?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think about it a lot. You learn so much through athletics. You learn about leadership. You learn about perseverance. And so yeah, I think there was a couple of really good leaders on that team. I was captain, and but we had some seniors on that team that had been through the battles. We've been through it together. And so yeah, just to be one, voted by your teammates as to be the captain, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But then you have to have some accountability around that, and you got to lead the team in the right way. And it's not always things aren't always great, so you have to kind of battle through some adversity there too. But yeah, it was fun. It was really cool and an honor to be chosen by my teammates.
Yeah. So after you graduated, you went and played pro ball in Italy. So how different was international basketball from SEC basketball?
I think it was similar in a lot of ways. The European style of play, at least at that time, was similar to college. It was a little different than the NBA. It was more kind of team oriented, a lot less one on one, which you see a lot of that in the NBA. But it was fun. I think the basketball was largely the same. The culture obviously was different, so kind of off the court, you had to learn to adjust to their culture and their language and those type of things. But hoops is hoops, whether you're playing them here in Italy. So we had a great time doing that.
Yeah. So your background as an athlete, how did that prepare you to lead an entire department as athletic director?
Yeah, again, I think just a lot of the things you learn in sports. I mean, whether it's the AD at Ole Miss or some Fortune 500 companies that a lot of times they want to hire former athletes because they know they got the work ethic. They know they've been through some adversity, some hard times. They understand about teamwork and trying to win championships. So I think a lot of that could translate to a lot of different industries. But I think for me, it's unique being here at Ole Miss. Being the AD here, where I was a student athlete.
Yeah.
I had an incredible experience as a student athlete here, and to me, it's about every day when I come to work, I want to do whatever I can to make sure our current student athletes are having a similar experience. A really good experience. So I think it's cool that I was a student athlete, but more importantly, a student athlete here at Ole Miss. I think it helps me every day.
Yeah.
With my job.
That's good. So one more question before we get to trivia. How have you seen NIL change the landscape of college athletics?
Man, how long do we have? We got
you
all afternoon. I can give the answer.
2 hour.
Yeah, no doubt.
We got it.
I'll try to give you like the 1 minute version of what's really a 2 hour answer. I think first of all, when NIL kind of became a thing, 3.5, 4 years ago, I think Ole Miss, we were kind of first movers in that space. We realized early on that this change is going to happen. You can either embrace it or you can fight it. But we kind of looked at it as an opportunity to build our program relative to some of these quote unquote bigger brands. Maybe it's a little harder for us, to go recruit 25 stars every year in football, but going into the portal, you can go get great talent and bring those people back and build your roster in a different way. So it's changed a lot. Now with the revenue sharing that's starting, this past July 1st, with the House settlement, it looks even a little different now. But I'm all for it. I think that the student athletes deserve a piece of the revenue. Nobody comes to Oxford to watch me run out on that football field. They come to watch our guys play, right?
Yeah.
Or the women's basketball team or whatever. So, I think that they deserve a piece of it, and I'm happy to do that. But, it has created a giant math problem in our budget, because when you add, $20 million, $25 million to your budget, in a given year to start paying the student athletes, you've got to work hard to figure that out. So we're doing that. We spend a lot of time every single